Hey, what's up, Stay Tuners? It's your good friend Jimbo here, letting you know that today's podcast is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. I recently joined as a member and you can too. Apply today and let them know that you heard from Stay Tuned Sports and you start earning today. That's podgo.co at podgo.co.
Heard the rest. Now here's the best Stay Tuned Sports Podcast.
And hello there, all you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here with a very, very special guest, the current King James belt holder, probably for the next 5 years, King.
Oh, you can only hope. The old Eagle sucker. Hi, everybody. Hey, it's been a while since I've been on the old brand.
Yeah. Well, probably
STS.
Probably almost a good 6 months, close to a year. I mean, we did it at the old house, and this is the first time you're doing it with us in the new house here.
I was gonna say, I thought it was it was close to like it was. I think it was still winter time last time I was. So yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah,
it's been a minute.
But let's be honest. It's pretty much winter all the time in Pennsylvania and probably Jersey too, especially lately.
Well, you would think that, but here's the thing. I love the change of seasons. It's fantastic. But winter was nice. We had lovely snowfall. Looked beautiful. Looks great. But yeah, now I'm ready for the springtime. Give me some of that. 68, 69 degrees, 70 degrees. Just nice warm weather. Melt some of the snow. Like to go outside and realize that I'll be arrested if I go outside, so then I can't go outside. I can just look at it being nice outside.
There you go.
The consolation in these times, in these trying times. But it's been a while. It's good to be back here.
Yeah, and at least I have confidence in us in this episode to be a lot more entertaining than this past Sunday with the Super Bowl.
Well, okay, and this is something I'll say too. Like, was this the most exciting Super Bowl we've ever seen? No, clearly it hasn't. But let us not forget that, 2 Super Bowls ago, we had the Patriots and Rams in that 13-6 game. So at least with this game, there was some points scored. It was all one team that did it.
Yeah. But
at least you had to. And plus, Patrick Mahomes running for his life was kind of entertaining to watch anyway.
Did you see that stat that came out about that?
He was rushed something like 42 times.
No, about how many yards they did a next gen stat thing and how many yards he actually ran.
How far he actually ran.
497 yards he ran. He from outside the pocket, I think is how they figured it all out.
Right, they measured outside of the pocket how far did he run every time he had a scramble. Well, on that one play that should have resulted in a touchdown, except for I forget who was supposed to catch the ball, but let it hit him in the hands, in the chest, in the end zone, and dropped it for some unbelievable reason. Yeah, Mahomes ran about a quarter of a mile on that.
Yeah. And then
threw the ball
parallel
to the ground, or horizontal to the ground. He was parallel to the ground. I used 3 different terms there, and I think one of them might have been correct. Parallel to the ground. That's what I was thinking. But he's parallel to the ground, throws the ball 30 yards still.
Yeah.
Hits the guy in the hands and he drops it. And then they did that 8K camera right up on his face there. And you just see Patrick Mahomes with that look like, Jesus, dude. Really?
Yeah.
Like, I ran all that way, did all that, did something immaculate in throwing the ball 30 yards while hovering in the air, and you dropped it when it hit you in the hands. This is, like, you just kind of saw his face was just like, oh, you know what? Screw this.
And you know what, like, let's jump into one aspect of this game. Everybody said that Tampa Bay's defense figured Mahomes out and shut him down. Let's be honest. I mean, he was down, 3 starting offensive linemen. He had no receivers to get separation. So how? I mean, okay, maybe the receiver part of it they figured out.
Well, no. Here's the thing, and Tampa Bay had a great defensive game plan going. Todd Bowles has to get a lot of credit. And the funny thing is, like us being up in the Northeast area, like we know a lot of the Jets. Todd Bowles was a Jet coach.
Yeah.
And it was bad. But here's the thing: when he was with, I believe he was in Arizona before the Jets. He was a great defensive coordinator. Now down in Tampa Bay, he's a great defensive coordinator. Some people are just good defensive coordinators. Some people are better coordinators than they are coaches.
Yeah.
I think Todd Bowles is a lot like that. Steve Spagnuolo is a lot like that too. When he was with the Giants as a defensive coordinator, they were good.
Yeah.
When he was with the Saints as a defensive coordinator, they were good. Now that he's with Kansas City defense, despite what happened in the Super Bowl, Kansas City's defense is not a bad defense.
No.
But, if you keep on getting penalties the way they did in that game and your offense can't score, it puts your defense in a bad spot. And that's unfortunately what happened. But he's one of those guys. But when he was head coach of the Rams, he sucked.
Yeah.
So, but Todd Bowles had a great game plan going into there. And that's the thing. You can blame the offensive line for not being great and not protecting Patrick Mahomes as they should have. And that's a fine, valid argument. But the fact that they were able to take away Tyreek Hill, the fact that they were able to take away Travis Kelce, or I'm sorry, which Kelce's on?
Yeah, Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce's on Philly.
All right.
But even him, he had a couple of drops there.
He did. And even when he did catch the ball, they got him. They took away Mahomes' weapons.
Yeah.
Which then let that front four just go nuts and let loose on a banged up offensive line. So you make sure that you have all your weapons are covered. He can't get the ball out. And now you have the rush hitting him. So now he's got to scramble and rush around for his life to try to wait for somebody to get open. And by the time anybody's open, he's already been sacked for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So end of the day, was the offensive line, I think, a contributing factor to the loss? Yeah, but it's definitely not the only reason they lost. And they definitely could have won even with a banged-up offensive line. If Tampa didn't have as good of a defensive game plan as they did, we're not talking about Kansas City's banged-up offensive line.
Yeah. And as far as offensively on Tampa Bay side, I liked their game plan of pretty much a lot of underneath route stuff, like to pick the linebackers or the corners, and then every so often throw it to the asshole that I don't like, Gronk. I mean, he had a...
First of all, how do you not like Gronk?
Dude, I want to just throat punch him sometimes.
Oh, dude,
like
he's such a... Listen, I like him. I think he's a great character. I think he's a good guy. He's a smart guy, believe it or not.
I mean, he did have a funny... Did you see about... Not to cut you off, but did you see about the commercial that... I believe T-Mobile it was.
The T-Mobile commercial with him and Brady. I thought that was
dude. I wish they would have aired that. I don't think.
Yeah, I know they didn't air it, but they aired it like everywhere else before the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
they didn't air it on it. But I think I even reposted it on my social media.
Come down and retire. Why would I retire to Florida? Well, maybe.
It was such a genius commercial. It was really good. But that's what I mean. Is like the guy does a lot of he's listen. At this time last year, he was getting ready to be the host of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was the white tiger on The Masked Singer.
Yeah.
And, I think he was happy where he was. And then Brady says, like, hey, listen, I'm going down to Tampa. You want to come with me? And he's like, yeah, sure. To the fact that, I don't know if you heard this story. What he did, when Brady wanted him to go to Tampa, what he did is he actually sent a tape to the Tampa offices, to the general manager and everybody else there, to Bruce Arians. He sent the tape, and it was like him working out, showing how he's been working out. This whole time he's been retired, he's still working out. He's still buff. Look at all, and he shows all these different clips of Gronk doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently what he did was, in like an hour, he just kept on doing one workout and then would change his shirt.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
do another workout. So it looked like he was doing like days and days and days and days of workouts, but he did it all like within an hour. Which also explains why early in the year he wasn't doing great.
Yeah,
you know?
he was out of shape.
He had to get back into football.
Now, I think he's back next year, though, right? I think he has one more year technically on his contract, whether he wants to come back or not.
Tampa's got a lot of people up. I know I know Leonard Fournette is up on a contract.
Yeah.
You know, I think Gronk is up on a contract. Like I think he only had a 1 year, so I think Gronk is up on it. They have a lot of pieces there. Antonio Brown's up on.
I think you could let Brown walk.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, and again, this could be a Super Bowl hangover situation, and they might think better of it, you know, down the road. But like Mike Evans has already come out and said that he wants to restructure his contract so that Tampa can keep most everybody.
I did see that, but man, I mean, seeing the list of players that are scheduled to be free agents, that's a lot of money to say, hey, okay, put it back into the franchise.
Here's the thing, though. Like if everybody. The thing that's going on in Tampa now is one of those unique things where it's people, you know, when Brady first came down, he basically built that team.
Yeah.
Down in Tampa. When for some reason the Jaguars waived Fournette. He got Gronkowski down there. He made sure they picked up Antonio Brown, which, by the way, also, if Brady ends up saving Antonio Brown from Antonio Brown, like Brady deserves like a congressional medal or something.
Yeah.
He deserves something more than anything the league could do.
I mean, just think about it. You haven't heard anything about Antonio Brown except for on the field since he came to Tampa Bay.
Antonio Brown, I think, and everybody listening, everybody here, anybody who watches football or watches the stuff around football would be able to tell you, Antonio Brown's got a mental condition.
Oh yeah,
like, and it's not being funny. That's not trying to make a joke.
Yeah, no.
Not doing like that. Antonio Brown seriously has a mental issue.
Yeah,
and if Tom Brady was able to at least in part maybe pause that for a while, and then maybe also get him help like during all of this. And to where it's not even broadcast that much, but maybe like he is getting him to, you know, therapy sessions. Maybe he is making sure that he stays on the straight and narrow with things, with his behavior. If he's doing that, then, you know, and we know that Brady has kind of a connection with AB from, you know, wanting him up in New England. And then all that other stuff happened, and maybe, you know, he has an attachment to Antonio Brown. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But so I don't think Antonio Brown, in that sense, would even walk. I think if they offered him like another 1 year deal for, you know, whatever he had this year, I absolutely think he would take it. I think Leonard Fournette might go simply because he might look to cash in a little bit, which by all means he absolutely should.
But, I mean, he probably could cash a little bit with Tampa Bay, because Tampa Bay, if he goes, I mean, granted, I know Shady McCoy didn't do anything really this year. He retired. He officially retired today.
Did he?
Yeah,
he's got 2 rings.
Two rings.
For everything about Shady, he's got 2 rings, man.
Out of no snaps. Blaine Gabbert has got a ring. That's so 2020.
Wasn't he a Jaguar too?
Blaine Gabbert?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
was a Jaguar. Yeah, he was a Jaguar too. So a lot of the ex-Jaguars getting rings.
Yeah.
Up in here.
But yeah, I mean, what other? I can't name another running back they have on their team that would be that starting workhorse, if you want to call it that.
Well, you're already but this is what I mean. Even if they do let certain pieces go, you're gonna have other players across the league saying, "Listen, I'll take a pay cut to go to Tampa Bay."
Yeah. Because
I know I'm going to have a chance to play with the greatest quarterback that's ever played in a game.
Yeah.
I have a chance to win a ring. And that, you know, because by this time of a lot of people's careers, they've made their money. And it's not like they're not going to get, you know, you're still getting a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
For playing a game, so you're not going to be. It's not going to be, you know, you're not being not compensated.
Yeah.
Like Adrian Peterson already said, like, listen, I'll take a pay cut. Let me come down there. I'll play with somebody for a ring.
Yeah, I mean, he only.
I ain't lost it. I ain't lost it yet. I'm still AD. You know. So, I mean, and I think you're going to see that with a lot of people. I think you're going to see a lot of players start knocking on Tampa's door and be like, hey, listen, what are you willing to give me in order to come here?
Yeah.
And, you know, whatever that may be, I'll take it simply because I'll be able to play in a place that I think I can win a ring.
Yeah.
And I think that's something you have to, I mean, like, we can break down the game and we can do all that kind of stuff. There's really not much to break down.
Yeah.
The fact that Tampa's defense really did shut down the explosive weapons of Kansas City, which we didn't think anybody could do.
Yeah.
They did it. And by that, Tampa Bay was just able to go ahead and make the game a laugher and a boring one at that. We can look at that, or we can just start looking at what this really means overall in like the scheme of the history of the game, the history of football. We're seeing stuff that'll never happen.
Yeah.
We just saw somebody in their 10th Super Bowl, which will never happen again, by the way. Win their 7th Super Bowl ring, which will never happen again, by the way.
I mean,
something like that's never going to happen.
You never know.
We saw no, it's not. And I don't care. Like, you already have people starting to try to put pressure on Mahomes, saying, "Well, Mahomes, it's on you now. You have to get 8 rings if you want to be considered good." Like, listen, you can't. Brady. This is what people mean when they say Brady's on a different level. He's on a different track. You can't compare regular great quarterbacks to Tom Brady. Tom Brady is on a level all his own, separate from everything else. If you win 2 Super Bowls, you're still a guaranteed Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And you're still considered one of the best the game has ever seen. If you win 2,
yeah,
I don't care what anybody says. If you win 2 rings, you're one of the greatest of all time, bar none, no questions whatsoever, no questions asked. I firmly believe it. This man is at 7, and he's been to 10.
Yeah, and you know, let's put it out there. Thank God to Eli Manning and Nick Foles.
Yeah, especially twice. And God, we'd never hear the end of it if they went 19-0.
Yeah.
So you know, so we have that. But even without that, to start judging other quarterbacks or young quarterbacks coming into the league, saying, "Well, they might be the next Brady." No, you can't. You can't do that. Because nobody's going to get to that level. Nobody's going to be able to achieve that kind of success. And this is the thing, too. This man did this in his very first season outside of New England, where everybody said he couldn't win if he was on any other team. He's a system quarterback.
Yeah.
Without Belichick, he ain't shit. He can't get there. He can't do any of this because of he is. You put him on any other team, and he's going to suck, and he's going to be terrible, and watch this, he's not going to be very good at all. In his first season with a new team, he brought them to a Super Bowl. He brought the leadership, and he's not that great of a quarterback now. There's so many other talented quarterbacks. Absolutely, I agree with that. I think Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback that's ever played.
Yeah, but also Rodgers is, I believe, younger, a lot younger, isn't he?
He's like 37, 38.
So he's about 5-6 years younger than Brady. So obviously, the younger talent right now at Brady's stage in his career, excuse me.
The fact that you just referenced a 37-year-old as a younger talent is insane to begin.
Yeah, but
I'm talking about like the Mahomes or the Deshaun Watsons or stuff like that, because it's unfair to do that to those kids, to say this is now the bar where it is set and where you have to go for us to consider you great.
Yeah,
that's not the case. Brady being where he is, I mean, he's in such a different stratosphere. He's in Gretzky level. He's in Jordan level. He's of not is he the greatest football player of all time? Is he the greatest? One of the greatest professional athletes of all time in American sports.
And I'm kind of glad you brought that up too, because I've been seeing that a lot lately. And want your opinion? I mean, is he the greatest athlete ever to play in sports?
Well, here's the thing, and the thing that I take away from that is you can't compare sports.
And I've said that too.
People tried to compare like what Brady's doing. Like, well, is he past Jordan? He's got 7 rings, so is he past Jordan now? Or where does he stand up against LeBron? Or what, like, I don't think you can do that. It's 2 different sports. It's too, like, especially with basketball. Like basketball, you can have one good player and make runs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like the Cleveland Cavaliers won an NBA championship because of LeBron James.
Yeah,
one player. If LeBron James was not on the Cavaliers team when they went to all those, and again, they went to like 3 or 4 straight finals against the Warriors and only won once. But even so, even with that one they won, and the fact that they got there at all those other times, what that showed you was what one player do. You took that player off there before he came back from Miami. They were garbage.
Yeah.
You put LeBron James on there, 3-4 straight NBA finals, and they actually won a championship. Then you take him off there, he goes to Los Angeles, they are bottom of the barrel shit again.
Yeah.
Like one player can make a huge difference in basketball.
But
one player can't make that big of a difference on a football field in a football game, especially because he's only on the field half the time.
Yeah,
like
but
he can bring the people. Like I will give him credit for bringing the people there. Getting Gronk there, getting Fournette there, getting AB there, setting all that stuff. I will give him that credit. But when it comes to the execution and actually getting the things done that need to be done, it's up to him to throw the ball to the right place, to call the right plays, to see the defense, to be the leader on a field. Yes, but then once the offense is done, the defense has got to go out there.
Yeah,
and he has no part of that.
Yeah.
All he can do is not sit on the sidelines and be a cheerleader. Whereas Jordan can play offensive defense. He was able to block shots. He's able to steal balls. He's able to get rebounds. He's able to do all that. Brady can't do that.
Now, the only thing that I would say about that, though, about trying to compare sports to each other, football is a lot harder, I believe, to win a Super Bowl because it's one and done. Basketball, hockey, you could have 2 bad games starting off, and then just click and have 4 great games, and before you know it, you won the championship.
Right, and it does have, and that's one reason. But also, I mean, look at throughout history. Look at everybody who's ever played the game of football, and you hear them say, you hear the stories all the time of people who in their rookie year or second year, they'll go to the Super Bowl, and then they'll be like, all right, you know what, this is fine, but I'll be back. We lost, but I'll be back, or I'll do something like that. And they never get back to the game.
Yeah.
For people to get to a Super Bowl is an achievement, is an event. Simply because of one of the, it's a team sport. You're relying on so many other people to make sure that they buy into the process, and they buy into the leadership, and they buy into the whole program.
Yeah.
And even then, if you hit a hot team, it could be you hit that one game and you're done, or you get a lucky play. Look back to the Saints and the Vikings with the Minneapolis Miracle. The Saints were by far the better team, and we saw that when they played the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. They got blown out.
Yeah,
but the simple fact was there was one mistake. Somebody didn't pay attention on the last play, thinking the game was already over. They let the guy get past them, and that was Stephon Diggs, by the way.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs.
And the rest is history. One player not focusing for one play ruined what could have been a Saints Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the game, and it's also when you think about it, how hard it is to go through all that to get to a Super Bowl. And Tom Brady has been to 10. He has been to 10 Super Bowls. He's been to 14 conference championship games. Yeah. And in his first year out of New England, where everybody said he would suck if he was out of there, he put a team together. And here's the thing. He immediately changed the culture of the entire Tampa Bay organization. He got there, and people realized this is real. This ain't Jameis Winston leading this team. This is the guy who's been at that time to 9 Super Bowls and had won 6. He had won 2/3 of the Super Bowls he had been in.
Yeah.
And they were a lot. He was winning Super Bowls before a lot of the guys were even on, playing Pee Wee football.
And it definitely showed today, after the parade, how well he was celebrating it too. I don't know I'll have to send that video to you if you didn't see it yet, with Brady being walked out, I guess, from the boat party, bodyguard or whatnot, Tampa Bay probably official, whatever, had to basically hands on both shoulders and guide him to the car, and he's just smiling ear to ear.
You're allowed to take a day off of the TB12 system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he says he doesn't drink during the season.
Okay. Oh.
And he says that's one of the things he does. So clearly today he was making up for that.
And it definitely showed.
Here's the thing. If I had won 7 Super Bowls, if you had won 7, if anybody listening to this had won 7 Super Bowls,
yeah,
been to 10, it's considered to be the greatest at his position of all time. It's considered to be one of the best athletes of all time. Has a supermodel wife. Even his ex was a super hot actress.
Yeah.
You go through all of that. I don't know if I'd have my pants on during a parade. Like, let alone being drunk or being like super ossified. I'd be just waving it around at everybody. I got 7. You know, there's not too much. Like I mean, I almost want to congratulate him on his restraint for just drinking with Gronk as much as he did.
Well, it's kind of funny you brought up about holding his restraint from being naked and everything. How about the streaker? You hear about that story with the Super Bowl?
That is now. See, who would think that just a simple streaker would have so many twists and turns in it, as to the story about what's going on with this?
Yeah. Now, in case the listeners haven't heard yet, the latest story about it is the streaker came out and said he put $100,000 on a prop bet that there would be a streaker at the game, paid a $500 fine to get out of jail, and pocketed $375,000.
Now here's the thing, I want to know what was this like. I want to know what sports book did he use? Was this an illegal bookie?
No,
was this like a FanDuel or a DraftKings?
It was like a FanDuel draft sports.
Because if he does that, would that not invalidate the bet then?
Unless it doesn't have it in the fine print.
Yeah, I wonder what the ins and outs of the laws of all the sports gambling and stuff like that would be. Because I'm not sure. Because I don't think I had FanDuel. I don't think FanDuel had that prop bet. They did not.
Yeah, I didn't see that for FanDuel.
So I'm not sure where it was, because the first thing that was when he ran onto the field, he had like the pink leotard on that had like the porn website.
Yeah.
I haven't checked out that website yet. I'm planning on it.
I did think about you when I saw that part.
Listen, I have to do deep research on this. I understand that, so I want to make sure that it's legitimate. Listen, if you're going to go and run out on the field, I imagine you have a legitimate business.
Yeah.
So that was the first thought, was like he did that for whatever advertising money this porn website gave him to do. Then it came out, then a couple of days ago, that he had placed a rather large sum of money on a prop bet that there would be the streaker at the Super Bowl, put that on there, and ended up winning a significant amount of money.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure yet if any of that's been confirmed, if that's just what he said, if that's what's just going on. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody really knows yet, because there's still a ton of questions then that come with, well, like, what actually happened.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not rooting against the guy. Listen, the guy was able to go ahead and put the money on himself to go be a streaker at the Super Bowl, and he did it.
Yeah.
And, especially with that one security guard that was about 235 pounds in a flying tackle in the end zone to crush him. It was his probably that guy's first tackle since his last game of high school football. And he was just looking. He's like, "This is my time to shine. Oh, I'm going to truck this dude." And sure enough, he did. Like, the guy took a hit from him. But, if you're willing to do that, to go ahead and get yourself a good bet, hey, God bless him.
And you know what? The other thing I want to say, kudos to the streaker, he was smart enough, too, to keep his pants up above his yayas, because they couldn't nail him for indecent exposure.
Oh yeah, but I think it looked like he had like like a thong leotard.
Yeah, but I think if those pants fell down,
I don't think he was going to hang down even if the pants came off. It seemed like he would have had at least some cuppage.
Yeah.
There of the goods. So, but it probably wouldn't have been. It probably wasn't comfortable wearing it. But you know what? I'm going to tell you what. If I'm getting like $300,000 to $500,000 on a bet, I'll be uncomfortable for an hour or so. Yeah. To pull that off. Yeah, I just can't run. That's my problem. I got a gimpy leg.
Yeah,
so my hobble ass would I get out of the stands and then immediately tackle. So.
Yeah, so you wouldn't even make it on TV.
I would have won the bet because the streaker wouldn't make the field. He'd be off on a sideline.
The only thing that I am disappointed in him with, he was quoted as saying so his buddy was the diversion. I guess he hopped over the fence. They attacked him. And that's when it was time for him to shine.
Smart play.
He hopped over, and he said once he got onto the field, all he wanted to do was run up to Mahomes and give him a kiss. Why didn't you go for it?
Is he like the reverse Morgana, the kissing bandit?
Yeah, and there would be no way the TV production team could cut away from that. I mean, all eyes were on Mahomes that whole time.
I was surprised that they left it on there as long as they did. I saw the streaker going, and I was like, oh, they're going to cut for this. And it was there for a good 5-6 seconds.
And the other thing, too, that was funny was the commentators are like, oh, we have a streaker on the field, and you didn't even see him yet, and all of a sudden they went to him. It's like, usually they do the opposite. They don't even go to...
Yeah, because they had the wide shot ready for the play. Then you show the streaker come out, and you see them talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. And then you see the cutaway. But I was like, for a good 5-6 seconds... They left it on the main cam.
Yeah.
And then he went to like the end zone cam to kind of show Mahomes from the other end zone and kind of block everything else out, which is what they normally do anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, the streaker was on there for quite a bit, which was surprising. So hey, good for him. You know what I mean? But
the only other thing with the game,
it livened up a rather dull Super Bowl.
It did, and I mean, I honestly thought it was gonna be high scoring and come down to the last drive with either Mahomes or Brady having to have to drive down for a field goal, even a field goal. And honestly, the game for me with the Chiefs, I was kind of pulling the 2012 national title game incident with me and you. Third quarter comes, Kansas City's about to start, right? I mean, they gotta be starting soon, right? And fourth quarter comes, I'm like, they should kick it in soon. Like, I did not believe.
Well, that was me, and that was Jackie as well. Was my fiance. I forgot that I have to make a reference because this isn't my show. So me and my fiance were watching the game, and she was pulling for the Chiefs too. But her actual prediction was that Tampa Bay would go out to a huge lead.
Yeah.
They would be up by a bunch. And then by like halfway through the third quarter or even into the fourth quarter, Kansas City would, like they did last year's Super Bowl, turn it on and come back, storm back, and win. And so her, like the whole game, she was watching it, and she's like, any minute now, now, they're going to start turning it on. And then as we start getting to like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, she's like, any minute now, any minute, they're going to start doing it. They're going to do it. There's still time left. And it's like, no. I don't think it's happening this time. And it was that was the surprising part because I was waiting for the same thing. I was waiting for that. They're going to turn it on any moment. They're going to complete it past the Tyreek Hill. He's going to run faster than any human alive, get a touchdown, and then, oh boy, here you go. Like they'll get a 3-and-out on defense from Tampa Bay or a turnover, and then they'll go back and immediately score again, and then it'll be a game, and then we're in it, and then it's who knows.
Yeah.
But it just never happened. It never clicked for them.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay always kept Tyreek Hill in front of them. They never let Kelsey get away from them. Clyde's Edward-Helaire had one good run. I think the whole game he had one good 20, 25-yard run or so.
Yeah.
And that was it. And that was it. Here's the thing. Forget the streaker. I want to know what the prop bet was on the Chiefs not scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I want to know what the odds were on that.
So
that might have been a fantastic bet for somebody out there. Somebody might be rich now because of that.
I was now the listeners can't see, but an inch away. I was like, fourth quarter, the prop bet on FanDuel, fourth quarter, Chiefs won't score a touchdown. The odds were like 2,500 or something outrageous.
Even in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
I was talking about even before the game.
Oh, no,
before the game.
No, before the game. It was like something like outrageous, like 2,500 or 5,000. Like I typed in $1.
That's something I would like. That's what I want to look at.
Yeah. Like I typed in $1 and it was like I was going to win like $60 or $600, something out. And I'm like,
I did that with the MVP because I picked either Jason Pierre-Paul or Shaq Barrett.
yeah.
Because I think one of them was at a plus 5,000 and one of them was at a plus 10,000 money line.
Okay.
So like if I had put $1 on, I would have won either $500 or $1,000.
Yeah.
On either one, I was like, what's the word? You lose $2 and you have a chance to get either 500 or $1,000 out of $1. I'll take that all day.
So NFL season's over now. Now we got hockey at least.
Yeah, if the Devils can never get out of COVID protocol,
Yeah,
sure.
Flyers are in COVID jail now too.
Yeah, well, probably because of the Devils. Who knows? They're just spreading around everybody. You know what it is that all the Devils players banged all the Flyers players' wives, and then COVID being COVID just kind of spreads around and everything like that. Because the Flyers' wives, they needed real men, real hockey players, not those.
Didn't we sweep you, or did we split?
The first two games we played, you beat us.
Okay, so
we haven't beat the Flyers.
Okay, so I
we
don't
beat
know.
the Rangers. We beat the Rangers,
Yeah,
but we haven't beat the Flyers.
Fuck the Rangers.
Oh yeah, I mean that goes without saying. That's the only thing that we can agree on as being Devils and Flyers fans.
As we see Jackie come behind you with a steel chair.
She's not yet. I don't know if she's heard me yet or not. The good thing is I'm looking directly down the hallway.
Okay.
From where she is. So if she starts coming at me, usually with a murderous look in her eyes, I'll be able to, duck and dodge, dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. But
anything else you want to
Flyers,
talk?
the Flyers, for being bad, have a good record.
That's I don't understand. And I texted you about this too with Carter Hart. I'm not getting off the Carter Hart train at all, bandwagon, whatever you want to call it. I am a little worried about him though.
I think here's the thing, and I'll equate this to another Philadelphia sports reference. I see Carter Hart and his current situation a lot in the same way I see Wentz.
Yeah.
Which is talented player, ton of talent, ton of potential, has a massive confidence problem.
Yeah.
If he gets shook, he gets shook for a while. When he's in himself, when he believes in what he's doing,
Yeah.
Carter Hart is a brick wall.
And even towards the end of last year, I noticed that he would start off giving up 2-3 goals and it'd be 3-0, and he would make one Sports Center top 10 type save, and all of a sudden, just like that, he's back to a brick wall. And I mean, he's young. That's one thing us Flyers fans got to remember. He's still young. He still probably could learn how to control that.
Well, there's a difference between, just because you're young doesn't mean you don't have confidence. I think about Martin Brodeur. As a Devils fan, I'm going to reference that, of course, always. But when he was a super young goaltender, his first year in the league, the Devils did very well. Made it all. They were the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference that year. Made it all the way to the conference finals against the Rangers, double overtime in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and then Stepan Matteau with the wraparound beats them. And you can see how dejected he was and how dejected the rest of the team was.
Yeah.
And then the next year they come back and they win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
He took something that was bad that had happened to him that could have been a crushing event and instead built upon it. And also, this is one thing I've always noticed about Brodeur since that time, is that he almost never let a wraparound goal again his entire career. He worked tirelessly on making sure there was never a wraparound goal that happened on him again. And that's the thing, is you have to be that kind of person.
Yeah.
That can handle a bit of adversity, something that goes wrong, and be like, okay, it's fine. Let's fix that and let's move on.
Yeah.
I know personally myself, I take mistakes and things that happen to me very personally. I will be like, my confidence can ebb and flow like anybody. So that's kind of why I feel like I almost understand a little bit with Carter Hart and with Carson Wentz and with a lot of the people or players, or no matter what it is, having a confidence issue. It's like, you feel good about, one day you feel good about yourself. Everybody's talking about you really good. Carson Wentz, it's Pennsylvania. He's going to be the one he got us the number 1 seed, when, he got hurt, but Nick Foles came in, but we got a great and bright future with Carson Wentz. He's going to bring us through.
Yeah.
The Flyers goaltender situation, finally figured out. Carter Hart, this guy's a beast. He's a brick wall. Nobody can get by him. And then, you have a couple bad games, or, you float the ball a little bit. You're not playing it well. You have a little bit of a consistency with your injury problems, something like that. The next thing you know, you start reading those other press clippings, which are like, is Wentz overrated? Is he really dead? Is he the answer here in Philly? Should we just bring back Nick Foles? Maybe Jalen Hurts is the guy. And you start reading all that, and you start hearing all that noise, and it gets to you, and then it compounds.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, maybe I had a bad game. But now, instead of focusing to make it better, in your head, you're like, maybe I didn't. Maybe I do something. Maybe I'm good. It's terrible. And then the next game, you throw 3 picks, and you can't read the defense. And you get sacked.
It kind of snowballs.
And it just goes from there. And that's what I mean. Maybe Carson Wentz's temperament is not made for Philadelphia. That could be another thing, too. Like, there are people who are made for New York. People who are made for Philadelphia. People who are made for Chicago, places that, are heavily focused on the sports, heavily critical, and do stuff like that. I don't know if he's made for it.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs to go to a city that's not overly caring
about
their team.
And some of the stories that are coming out about Wentz, I mean, obviously we don't know the truth of these, but the one in the very beginning of this whole saga was Frank Reich, when they were about to draft him, they went to go do the pro visit or whatnot, and Carson Wentz supposedly came right out to Frank Reich and said, hey, I argue with my coordinators all the time, but they know I'm right, with the audibles I do or whatnot. And Frank Reich chalked that up to competitiveness. Well, maybe now that we see what's going on, maybe it wasn't competitiveness. Maybe it was, I'm a drama queen.
I don't know if I could put Wentz in that category as a drama queen. I don't know about that. But I'll tell you what, if here's the thing. Perfect world, perfect situation, I think, for Wentz would be to end up in India.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Because he never had any better success or felt more comfortable, it seemed, than when Frank Reich was his coordinator.
Yeah.
So it seems like that would be the great fit. Now the question is, will he go? And what is Indianapolis going to do? Because from what I understand, the Eagles are asking they're asking for stupid. They're stupid.
And that's the thing too, was before the Super Bowl, a couple days before the Super Bowl, came out, done deal. He's going to Chicago. We're getting Nick Foles, Tariq Cohen, the 20th pick of the Bears. We're sending Wentz, I think, like a 6th or 7th, some type of draft pick back. As much as I don't want to see Wentz go, I actually like that package for the Eagles. And then Monday morning comes out, well, now it's kind of cooling down because the Eagles want minimum 2 first-round draft picks. They basically want the Stafford deal plus more.
Here's the question I'm going to ask you, and this is something I've seen going around as well. Who put out that report?
And I've been seeing that too.
This is what I'm saying. When something like that happens, where it's like, oh, there seems to be a deal imminent between these two teams. There's a lot of teams calling and being very interested in this particular player or something like that. I have an anonymous source that says the deal's really close, or it's basically done. What's going on? Who's giving them that information? Who's giving the reporters this information? Who's leaking that information? And I think a lot of the times, it's the organization that's doing it.
Yeah, I agree. It's Howie.
They're trying to get as much as they can. They're trying to get other teams to be like, hey, listen, it's almost done. It's almost done with the Bears. You should get in on this.
Yeah.
Before the Bears get them, because again, we like Nick Foles, and they have a lot of stuff there, so you better come and get him before he's gone.
Yeah.
And then when nobody else bit, it became okay. But now there's sort of saying that this is what the Eagles want, and okay, but who's sending it? Who's giving that information? And not only that, but here's the thing: if what is reported the Eagles are asking for is what they're asking for, they're never getting it.
Yeah,
you're not
there's
getting
no
that
way
for a damaged quarterback that has a confidence issue that may or may not ever recover from. It's not going to happen.
And not to mention the contract.
Exactly. Here's the thing: if you're the Eagles, you have to basically give him up for free.
Yeah.
You're basically thanking the other team for taking the contract, and you will give them. This isn't a case where you're going to get a lot for Carson Wentz. This is a case where you're giving to get rid of him.
Yeah.
This is what you're doing.
Kind of like Brock.
Because again, you have the contract. You have a damaged quarterback. If you can trade him for a bag of balls, look into it.
Yeah. It screams the couple years ago. What was it, the Browns and the Broncos? Brock Osweiler.
Oh yeah.
Remember they traded basically what the draft pick would have cost for that draft for Brock Osweiler, and that's what Philly's gonna have to end up doing.
Yeah, they're gonna have to give up Carson Wentz. If they have to do it at a loss, they're gonna have to do it at a loss, or you're gonna go into a training camp and a preseason that's gonna be nothing but a distraction.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say about this subject too is, let's say Wentz doesn't get traded at all, and he's on the Eagles team day one of the new season, league year. You gotta fire Howie Roseman. I mean, he blundered this whole situation up.
Well, you have. I mean, I have stayed in touch with Philadelphia Twitter. As toxic as Twitter is, Philadelphia Twitter's 10 times as worse. But I've kept up with what people have been saying. And it seems like if Howie Roseman is still there for any significant amount of time, people are going to assassinate him.
Yeah.
The level of dislike for that particular gentleman as the general manager is even more so than David Gettleman in New York, which I didn't think was possible. But the people in Philadelphia,
I mean, it's
are not happy.
It's even slowly like oozing up to Jeffrey Lurie of, listen, do something or sell the team. That's how bad it is getting with us. Well, I don't want to say us, because I'm not saying Jeffrey Lurie just yet, but most Philly fans are saying that now.
Even if here's the thing I think about, and it, it's a little funny and maybe a little schadenfreude too, because I'm a Giants fan, so screw the Eagles. But I remember when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, one of the darkest days in the history of the National Football League.
Oh, screw you.
And then that whole year afterwards and the preseason then, and you had all the Eagles players coming out saying we have the system, we know how to win. You should pay attention to us because we're the, we have the winning system. We know what we're going to do. We have 3 or 4 more in us. We know what we're doing. Nobody else knows what we're doing here in Philly. People should really start paying attention to what we're doing here in Philly.
Yeah.
Then from that time until now, it took less than 3 years.
Oh yeah.
Less than 2 years, really, because it was Super Bowl 53 was the one you guys won in Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah.
So less than 2 years, it's gone from winning the Super Bowl in February of 2018.
Yeah.
To here we are, where you guys stopped.
And that's putting it nicely.
You guys were, I believe, once everything came out, I believe it was you were last place this year.
Yeah.
In a division that was horrendous. In a division that had a team with a losing record winning the division.
Yeah.
You were the last place in that division.
And it doesn't.
That is such a remarkable turnaround.
It doesn't even deserve It doesn't even deserve a Charles Barkley terrible.
And not only that, but it's not just that the team got bad in 2 years, 3 years, whatever it was, 3 years.
Yeah.
It's not just that happened. It's the entire organization has basically fallen apart.
Yeah.
There is so much turmoil in just the Philadelphia Eagles organization. I got to say, it doesn't break my heart, but from just a football fan's perspective, it's stunning that can happen. That you can build a team that can do what they did, and in almost as equal amount or even less time, tear it all down.
Yeah,
it's incredible on how fast that downfall was, and now it's almost a Houston Texans situation where it's like, well, you're probably going to have to blow it all up and just start from scratch.
Yeah,
because you want to talk about a bad organization.
The
Houston Texans are worse than we thought.
Yeah,
we thought they were bad.
We're getting that close.
That organization is worse than we thought.
We're getting that close though to bad, as far as a bad organization.
I would love to say yes, but I don't think the Eagles are even as close to as bad as the Texans are.
I don't know, man.
Because you saw that their president resigned today.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he wanted to resign back when they hired the general manager that they got.
Yeah.
Because apparently he and a bunch of other people there were part of the search committee to find a new general manager. Which owner is it Bob McNair or his son or one of the McNairs?
Okay.
The McNair family, we'll say. Told Deshaun Watson he would be in with that conversation and have input on that, which again they never gave him.
Yeah.
And then they had their own people there, their president and football operations guy, whatever. They did this whole exhaustive search, put together a list of names, to which the owner basically crumpled that up, threw it in a trash can, and they hired their own guy. And he said he wanted to resign that day. He told them he was resigning, and they begged him not to in order to alleviate not have it look that the organization was as in much turmoil as it was.
Oh, okay.
So he actually agreed to hold off on his resignation until a later date, which happened to be today.
Yeah.
In which he then said he would resign. But so you had a thing where basically, if everything happened the way it should have happened, the Texans tell Deshaun Watson he'll be in on the general manager hunt. They don't let him.
Yeah.
They don't let him know he's going to have any say on the head coach. They even tell their own president of the organization that to whatever his input was means nothing to them, which means the day that they would have hired the general manager is the day that Deshaun Watson said, listen, fuck this, I want out.
Yeah.
That the president of the team said, fuck this, I want out. Where everybody's starting to abandon ship. J.J. Watt basically wants out.
Yeah.
In not so many words, but you can tell he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to almost think maybe it wasn't all Bill O'Brien.
Yes.
Maybe
true.
he was a symptom. He wasn't the cause.
Yeah.
That team is a mess.
Yeah.
Which is sad to think about because you got to remember, just a year ago, they were this close to beating the Chiefs until the Chiefs made that huge comeback and screwed them over. But they were a team on the rise that had the pieces. They had DeAndre Hopkins. They had Deshaun Watson. They had their defensive pieces. They had J.J. Watt, who was a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, Man of the Year. He's got all these, he's got all these things. Like, they were set up to be like, all right, they're going to take that next step. Who knew that next step was a fucking banana peel that they slipped on and fell all the way to goddamn the Eagles' fall has been stunning. The Texans' fall has been sad.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing.
Well,
but now who ends up with it? That's going to be the question.
Yeah, and you probably won't find out.
The Texans came out and said they're not going to trade him, which is stupid. You can't do that. Because this is his last year on his contract anyway.
Yeah.
So it's either you trade him for something now or you let him go for free. You have to get something for him because he's not going to play for them this year.
Yeah.
He will sit out. He'll become a free agent next year, and he will be as wanted next year as he is right now.
Well,
that's not going to soften.
If he sits out, he won't be a free agent. He's got to play a certain amount of games. I mean, he could do the who did it? Marshawn Lynch, maybe it was. It sat out 7 games, but came back the 8th week and played out the rest of the year, and then that counted as a season for him.
Well, I don't know. I might have to go to court then because he's not going to play for them.
Yeah.
He will sit out. And if that's going to be the case, he'll find a way out of it. They'll do something because he can't. He's not going to play for them. So if you're the Texans, either way you lose. Then either he goes to another team for free and you get nothing for him, or he just he doesn't play, but you still don't get anything for him. You're not in any better a position.
Yeah. Unless
they're going to be that petty and spiteful, which I don't know. Unfortunately, it seems like the Texans may be that kind of organization.
Yeah.
But you definitely can't fault Deshaun for wanting to be out of there. You can't fault anybody for wanting to be out of the Texans organization right now. I would not want to be a part of that team.
Yeah.
As it stands right now, it is a bad time down there. But
it is.
Now the question is just where he ends up.
Yeah. All right, buddy. I just want to thank you for being, coming on. I'm sure you gotta get going to record your podcast. Here's your time to do your shameless plug.
I actually do have another podcast now. Thank you so much for that seamless transition. That was very nice. No, I do currently have a new podcast along with my fiance Jackie. It is called Calamity in the Coffee. What is it? It's nonsense. It's really just all it is. It's just kind of just BSing about everything. That doesn't, like most podcasts have a focus. We don't have that. But you can go ahead and find us. We're on all platforms where you go ahead and podcast. Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn. I'm sure there's more. You can find us really anywhere we podcast. You can find us over on our social media. We have all the links there as well. All of them. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and on Instagram. All of them are tagged with Calamity and Coffee. I know that sounds weird. It's Calamity without the vowels because you know how they limit the amount of characters you can use and stuff, so it becomes a little bad. But it's CLMTY and Coffee. That is CLMTY and Coffee. You can find it again on all the platforms. We have a merch store. We have a place where you can support the show. We have all that. All those links are always available there on all those social media links. We'd like it if you stopped by and gave us a listen.
You done?
I think so. That's enough. You want me to keep plugging? Well, I will continue to plug.
I was going through my head how much was the commercial. I was going through my head how much was the commercial for the NFL so I could charge you guys. Jesus Christ.
For the NFL. Listen, if you start getting NFL numbers, I'll start paying NFL prices. But until then.
All right, buddy. I will see you later. And we'll actually be back after this quick break with a brand new segment. Hey, what's up, Stay Tuners? Are you looking for a good movie to watch this weekend? Well, head out and pick up this Rotten Tomatoes certified fresh, pulse-pounding disaster thriller Greenland, starring Gerard Butler, Morena Baccarin, and Scott Glenn. When a planet-killing comet races towards Earth, a father and his family make a perilous journey to their only hope for sanctuary, while encountering the best and worst in humanity as the countdown to global apocalypse approaches zero. Own Greenland today on digital, Blu-ray, and DVD, which includes deleted scenes, feature commentary with director Rick Romanois, and much more.
Jumping out of it, Trevor White saying, you know what, I've seen too much now. I almost saw an accident right up there at the front of the field, and that's the one spot you don't want to have an accident, because you and I know, Carlos, if that happens, it's all chaos from there.
Right there, oh, there's a wreck! Turn one! Multiple drivers involved.
And this is the big one, the 12 involved, the 29, the 23 coming in. Oh boy, a bunch of very damaged race cars.
And this is Garage Talk with Joshua Soble, brought to you by 3 Wide TV. So talking with Josh this past week or so, we kind of wanted to do like some type of iRacing segment since we will be sponsoring the NSRA Truck Series next season. And thankfully he was gracious to accept it, so thank you, Josh.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be a bunch of fun.
Yeah, especially with one part of our of the segment that we're going to do is we're going to have, I guess if you want to call it mailbag questions, and this first week is going to be quite interesting with some of the questions I picked out.
We got some jokesters in SRA, I guess, huh?
Yeah. I mean, this week it was I just wanted to get the guys questions, but eventually gonna ask maybe like every Monday or so on Twitter. And then probably throw it in even on Facebook to take some questions out of there. And the other thinking with this segment was for like any of the newbies that are just watching iRacing or want to get into it, kind of recap the previous week's races and the upcoming race. And if there's any questions that, I love how my computer does that. Any questions that maybe some newbies might want to ask Josh, hey, what's a good pedal to buy or whatnot, and that's why we have Josh here and not me.
Yeah, I mean, the whole iRacing situation, for those of you that don't know too much about it, I'm always open to anything. So the guys that are listening, if there's anything you want to kind of throw in here one week and talk about, get a little bit more info on, I'm more than happy to provide that.
Yeah, okay, so let's jump right into it, Josh. And we picked a perfect week to start this and to recap last week. So technically, you finished third. It's a lot of drama at the end there, if you want to call it. I was watching it, and again, I'm a newbie when it comes to this iRacing, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot or blame, but from my standpoint, I thought the white car, I forget who the driver was, should have backed off a little bit. I don't think he should have tried to squeeze between you and who was alongside you when that wreck happened?
So it was my teammate that was with me, Colin Olery, who was on my inside coming to the tri-oval, and pretty much it was like coming off of turn 4. You see daylight in front of you, and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna win this thing." And my teammate was congratulating me before we even crossed the line on the win, and I thought I had this in the bag. Then all of a sudden, I look up in my mirror, and Peter Serto in the 32. I don't know. Like I said in the interview, I'm not picking anything at Serto. He's never done anything to me through the season, but it was just weird that he got such a run, and I mean, he would have won that thing. If he would have taken it to the outside, he would have won that.
Yeah.
That's what I think irritated me more, was the fact that he had it. I don't know if he's ever been in that position, but it was there, and instead of trying to win, he was like, "Can I squeeze this thing through here?"
Yeah, and again, once again, how many times this year with you, Josh, I just looked at my wife because I had the race on the laptop and I had bare knuckle boxing on the big screen, so I was watching both at the same time, and I saw that happen, and I just like, come on, what the, and wife said, what happened? I'm like, Josh, he was ahead and got wrecked, and he rolled across the finish line in 4th place. I'm like, I feel so bad for the kid, this and that, and luckily, I guess the race admins or whoever told Peter, the host and everything, not to make the call yet who won, because they're going back to look at it. And so it turned out to be a penalty. I guess someone passed below the yellow line or something was?
Yeah. So there's a pretty strict rule when it comes to super speedway racing that it's okay to go below the yellow line if you're forced down there, which is a key word, being forced to go below the yellow from another driver who's just pretty much pinching you and not giving you the room in the racing surface, or if you're avoiding a caution that's in front of you and trying to get through cars, you'll see guys kind of go down below the apron and everything like that. But in a racing circumstance, at least from the league standpoint, it looks like they don't want anyone going below the yellow line, and they classify that as pretty much what I'm seeing is the two left tires going over the line to gain an advantage. And they saw Jordan Scheffler use that to his benefit to gain the advantage on Colin and to try to pretty much win that after the chaos was happening. So I feel bad for him, honestly, because he has had a pretty terrible season as well too, as far as where he's ended up, and I couldn't imagine being excited to win Daytona and then it kind of just gets taken away from you.
Yeah. because there was a couple times too, like, because I went back the next day, I believe, to watch it, and I think there was like one other time someone went below the yellow, but again, that was like what you explained. I think someone was pushing him down there, or he was trying to get away from a wreck. But real quick though, I do want to give a shout out to Peter. So like I said, I had the race on the laptop and boxing on the TV, so I had the laptop turned down a little bit, and I saw everybody in the chat, congratulating Stay Tuned Sports for being the new sponsor next season. And dumbass me, I'm like, oh, you guys listen to the show. Well, thank you for listening to the show. Here, I want to thank Peter for congratulating Stay Tuned Sports for being a new sponsor next year. I did not hear him say it, and when I went back to watch the race the next day, they both hosts had some nice words about us, and I appreciate that to both of them too. So little points update as far as the chase. Now I saw not Josh. I know his last name was Adams.
Mitchell Adams.
Yeah. He took over first place for points now.
Yep, he's it looks like right now he is ahead of Bill Edwards by a whole 14 points.
Oh, wow.
And Lorello actually got knocked down 2 spots to put him in third, and that's going to put him only 16 points behind Mitchell Adams, which if anyone watched the race, that's very surprising for Lorello to still be in it after all that.
Yeah. If you guys have watched the races throughout the year or went back to watch, you obviously know and heard me, Chris, and Ben Adams talking last week. Lorello has just been a very, very good driver this year, winning 6, 7, 8 races this year. And it kind of sucks for him that, one, I'm not going to get into it, but probably questionable wreck, we'll call it, to be knocked from first place down to fourth in points. But like you said, to be only 16 points out with what, four or more races?
Yeah, I think we're actually 4 exactly right now.
So I mean, he's definitely not out of it, correct?
Yeah, he's definitely not out of it. He has plenty of time to come back. The thing that's going to be tough is Mitchell being in the lead. Mitchell's one of those guys that even last season, before I joined NSRA, the dude was killing it. He won championship last season, so he's not going to give that first place position away easily. He's got his eyes set on what he wants to do, and he's a teammate of mine. So it's nice to see him up in first in points, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure when it comes to the end of this thing. I honestly have it predicted that the top 3 as it is, with Mitchell Adams, Bill Edwards, and James Lorello kind of being the 3 biggest ones to watch these next 4 races.
Okay. Speaking of the next races, we got Bristol this week, right?
Yeah, so we're actually off going into next Friday, this Friday, sorry. Unfortunately, I think they're celebrating Mardi Gras for that week, that weekend, which I never even thought about like Mardi Gras being a huge thing. So they have that off, and then so we actually go back racing on the 19th.
Oh, okay. So if work wants me to come in Saturday, I'll come in Saturday then. Because that's when I was talking to Chris and Ben last week, when they said about Daytona this week, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going in. It was, it wasn't
Daytona's
mandatory or anything, but
huge race. Man.
So as far as Bristol, what's the over under for cautions?
Oh God, that's a tough one because I know we can race clean, but it's more of a patience game, and I think the patience is the thing that kind of wears thin with a lot of guys. And I'm going to tell you right now, side-by-side racing at this track is going to be rough. Especially, I always get this track confused with the exit of 2 and 4 because they're so similar. Okay. But I think the safer barrier wall out of 4 is kind of a pain. and most of these guys that I see will run up against the wall for some of their faster laps. That kind of seems to be like more of the preferred line to go. And side-by-side racing off of 4 is going to be very interesting. If I had to base it, I'm hoping we stay under like 6 or 7. I think that's a pretty good mixture for how long of a race it's going to be. But we'll see if tempers flare and if anything boils over from Daytona. And
on top of that, too, like with what you just said about Mitchell not going to relinquish first place anytime soon, Bristol being such a short track, and you said about having patience and stuff, it could cause a lot of wrecks. Just him trying to, and I shouldn't say just him, but like say even Lorello gets up there in first place or Bill Edwards, trying to hold off everybody, putting blocks left and right, that could cause a lot of accidents there.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, Bristol is going to be a race of attrition. So you're going to hear that a lot through most of the season, especially taking this into next season. We got a lot of races where it's more of a laid back, like wait to see what happens and try to get through the wrecks. You really want people to wreck out if you're going to play it safe and stay in the back. And I think some of the smarter drivers are probably going to attempt that. But at the end of the day, Bristol is nasty and it's going to close up. You're going to see cars all over the place. If we do get a wreck, this track is going to close up so fast that it's going to come down to making sure no one's going to run you over behind you and making sure you can get on the brakes and kind of get out of the way. So I would hate to be in Mitchell Adams' position coming into this, being a points leader and knowing that Bristol can easily take that away if he's not careful.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting too, that Bristol is in a chase race, or however you want to say it too, especially with these top 3 drivers being so close in points.
Yeah, I mean, you got to throw in a small track too. I can kind of understand it. So, with there being 7 races and you have a half-mile track in the list, and it's the only half-mile track, and it's mid-pack on top of that. I think that was planned to happen, honestly, just based off of how you see the rest of the schedule playing out. After this, if Mitchell Adams or Lorello can survive, it's almost going to be kind of a cakewalk for the last 3 races.
Okay. So before we're done with the segment, like I said, another part of the segment, we're going to be taking questions from listeners and fans and drivers. And so this week I just kind of kept it with the Truck Series guys. And I don't know how I want to say some of these questions. Like some of the questions they put in our Discord channel made me laugh, and I was like, man, I wish I could ask those questions. But so I actually got 2 questions here. So and speaking of James Lorello, he wants to know what kind of footwear you race in.
What kind of footwear would you say screws you over the most? Because if it's a stiletto, then that's pretty much what I race.
I don't know why I could see you wearing stilettos when you're stuck in the gas. God, I can't get my foot out. I'm spinning.
Yeah, I think the other. I meant to say I think the other drivers around me wear the stilettos the way that the season's been going. But
that's true.
I actually, if for real though, I race barefoot. I don't know. It just feels comfortable to me.
You know what? And when I saw that question, I'm like, I wonder if he does like do a barefoot thing, like Leonard Skinner, Van Zandt, always singing barefoot. I always enjoyed and found that interesting how he would walk stage. I'm thinking, man, I used to play in a band. I'd be afraid to step on like a nail or a screw or something.
So what's funny too is like I think the way that I use like the pedals when I race is way different. So for me, like I'm really heavy footed on my braking, so I have to like change some of the brake bias in the race to kind of get me by, like when I'm coming down like pit road and stuff like that. But what's funny is I actually use my big toe to accelerate. That's the only part of my foot I use is my big toe. So I use that to like baby the throttle, and it just, I don't know, I've just been doing it for so long, like it feels comfortable. And even in a real race car, even though I have racing shoes on, I still have my foot positioned where like pretty much my big foot side of the shoe is on the gas pedal.
You know, and I'm just thinking now with these questions, you know, get to know Joshua Soble.
Pretty much.
And then our last question is from TJ Buck. What's your favorite cereal?
He wants me to say Captain Crunch.
Do I want to know why?
Yeah, he wants me to say Captain Crunch because he's got a Captain Crunch styled paint scheme.
Oh, okay.
TJ Buck is awesome, man. That guy is really, really fucking cool. I don't know if I could say that word, but whatever.
Trust me, I said a lot worse on here.
But honestly, I'm not much of a cereal person. And if I had, I don't think I wouldn't even want to say the cereal that I would eat because I know these guys are going to be like, oh, so you're trying to get your fiber there, Sonny? Like, I and for some weird reason, like Life cereal, I don't know why, but Life cereal tastes amazing to me. It's weird. I'm a weird person.
No, Life cereal. I've had Life cereal before, and I mean, I'm not a cereal guy anymore. When I was younger, obviously, but Life cereal. I was a big Puffs guy. I used to love Puffs.
Oh yeah.
And then,
like when I go to the grocery store and my wife is with me, and I look at the cereal, she's all like, "Oh, I want Fruity Pebbles. Ooh, I want Trix," and I'm like, I want Life or Honey Bunches of Oats or Raisin Bran. And she's like, what are you, 70? And I'm like, hey, at least by the time I get to 70, I'll be good to go.
Yeah, you're doing some early practicing. All right, Josh, I'll let you get going. Good luck Friday. Now, all right, so you guys aren't racing this week, but you'll be racing next week at Bristol, 9:30?
Yeah, so this week I actually have a pretty huge week. So iRacing is putting together a Daytona race for Road to Pro, and my license and safety rating in the game is high enough for me to join. Oh, okay. So I'm actually going to. I'm debating if I'm going to call out of work for it because they do have a race Saturday morning at 5 a.m.
Oh wow! For
like placement races, and then if I don't get through that, I can do noon. But I'm thinking about doing that this weekend and seeing what I can do with that. And I mean, Daytona has been nice to me as long as everybody else can keep it clean.
Yeah. Now, is that race going to be broadcasted or?
I don't think the prelims, so to speak, are going to be, but it's going to be huge. Once those guys, whoever makes it to the finals, that's 100% going to be broadcasted, and it's going to be a massive broadcast.
Okay. Well, if you get the link or whatever, make sure you send it over to me, and everybody follow the podcast at ST Sports Podcast, and keep an eye out for that link, and maybe we'll get some Stay Tuned Sports fans in there to root you on.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, buddy. I will see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
And that's going to be it for this week, guys. Hope you enjoyed the new segment. Want to thank King for coming back on. So make sure you head over to staytunesports.net. All our social media accounts are on the right-hand side there. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube channel to subscribe to, as well as up top there is our merch tab. So you can click that and get your hoodie or t-shirt or whatever you want to buy to support Stay Tuned Sports. So till next week, this is your good friend Jimbo, signing out.